Good afternoon. All right. In this presentation, what I would like to present is that how can we create tech ecosystem and empower villages to help themselves? And I would like to start with first that what does development really mean? And the true purpose of development is to elevate suffering for all. But the GDP mindset, elevates suffering for few, but transfers by transferring the suffering to others. And therefore, there is a need for a mindset shift, which we have been talking about from GDP to GNH. Now, Wellbeing Alliance nations and nations like Bhutan have the mindset, but the challenge is in operationalizing GNH, that how do we really operationalize GNH on ground? And for that, we first need to understand that how does development occur? What makes development tick? So for development, like for example, development of cities, government invests in public infrastructures. Like for example, the ecosystem is created through clustering of resources, like knowledge institutions, banks, marketplaces, and people come together in cities, and that's how the development occurs, because ecosystem reduces the transactions cost for people to exchange ideas, for people to build products and provide services. But what we are saying here is that maybe uh, the cities often create, winning situation for few, but leaves many behind. It's not that cities are not required, but it creates winning situation for few, but leaves many behind. And what we are saying with the smart omni-village approach is that maybe in the digital age, we may not need such clustering of resources. Such ecosystem can be created through digital public infrastructure instead of physical public infrastructure. So maybe digital banks, digital data infrastructure, digital marketplaces, and digital knowledge institutions. And why this is important is because half of the world's population still resides in villages, and in developing nations like Bhutan and Southeast Asian countries, it is more than half of the world's population that still resides in villages. And at present, they're served with siloed initiatives, majorly by private players, and lack holistic digital public infrastructure that can create an ecosystem effect for the transactions cost to come down and for development of the villages to happen. And it is also important for transparent bottom-up national and global order, because development is not only about creating ecosystem effect in cities, but it is also about coordinating development between various different regions, be it at district level, at national level, at bioregional level, or at global level. So at present, we do not have a transparent either data infrastructure or a knowledge infrastructure that can help decision makers coordinate their development efforts across the regions. So how can we create such an ecosystem? And through my presentation, I propose 5 pillars of this digital development ecosystem. First one is the National Digital Identity Framework. The second is data-driven decision making. Third, network knowledge and learning. Fourth, decentralized financial infrastructure. And fifth, open digital marketplaces. Let me run you through each of these pillars. So number one, National Digital Identity Framework. So before internet, usually meetups or yellow pages would allow people to network with each other. With clustering of resources in cities, when people come together in cities, the personal meetups allow people to network with each other and exchange ideas. With the advent of LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, people would find themselves on internet and network with each other. But problem with this centralized private platforms is that often our data is given to them but is not received back, right? And there is lack of trust and transparency. So Bhutan has already pioneered national digital identity, which is based on decentralized network, and it is not a centralized platform, it is self-sovereign identity. If we build a social network on top of that, which villagers can access, then they will be able to network with each other at a much lower cost, and maybe at a cost which the cities provide, the platform for people to network with each other. Second is the data-driven decision making. So at present, if we look at our data infrastructure, it is mostly siloed. It is either aggregated at district level, at national level, or at global level. But when it comes to village level, we do not have village level data dashboards that can give us grassroots insights that what is needed at the village level. And then there is also fragmentation between food data, for example, farming related data with one organization, and then water related data with another organization. And for a common man in the village to access their own data is such a difficult task. To get their own holistic picture that how my village is doing is such a difficult task. So the idea here is to, what if we create village level balance sheets, a village level data dashboard that can come together to become district level data dashboards, which can come together to become provincial level, national level, bioregional level, and ultimately a earth level data dashboard, which can give insights to the people. And why these data dashboards are helpful is, for example, when we did this for Rukha in Bhutan, we found out that, and even as part of Global Soil Health Program, when we want to help farmers for soil restoration, we actually do not know where these farmers are and where these lands are where the soil is degraded. So when we did this survey from each household in Rukha village, we found out that from their lived experience, they reported that the soil health is declining, which was validated by also the soil report that we got from the laboratory. So if we have such insights from the grassroots level that what is actually needed, then the next thing that we need to do is either mobilize, for to solve any problem, what is needed is either knowledge, either funding, or combination of both. So the next two pillars builds on this pillar. Once the needs are identified at the village level, how can we match them with right knowledge and right funding for them to solve their problems? So the next is network knowledge and learning. Again, before internet, knowledge access, as we know, was the transactions cost of accessing any knowledge was very, very high. Internet brought down that cost to a certain extent, but again, today on the internet, the knowledge is mostly dominated by research institutions and is fragmented. The knowledge from the East is very less represented, and the knowledge from the Western countries is more dominated. So the indigenous knowledge is missing on internet. So the idea is, from these villages, what if we can build a networked peer-to-peer learning platform where we learn from the success stories of the villages from across the world, and based on the data, the needs that we identify in the village. So for example, in Rukha, we have to solve the water problem. So if we learn from another village where the spring shed management has been successfully applied, and the AI can give the solution to the villagers, step-by-step guiding how you can, solve your water challenges, then that can reduce the cost of knowledge access and problem solving at the village level. So the idea is to build a decentralized knowledge network, and we propose building a One Bhutan knowledge network which can connect all the knowledge that resides in the universities here. So for example, last year, in August when we were here, after the conference, we visited College of Natural Resources, and they have this wonderful library and in-depth research into farming practices in Bhutan, but none of that is accessible at present to any farmers. That is, it is just lying in the library of the College of Natural Resources. So if we digitize it, and if we build an AI layer on top of that which can translate that knowledge even into local dialects, then that knowledge can help the villagers and the farmers in those villages develop integrally. And once we have knowledge, so knowledge alone cannot solve all the problems. It has to be matched by funding. And we discussed the idea of the social stock exchange also. So even regarding funding also right now, there are many platforms that provide funding. Like there's GoFundMe, there is Kickstarter, then there are so many crowdfunding platforms. But again, the transactions cost for a village project or a small project to be listed on so many platforms is so high. So what if we build a global social stock exchange which is built on a common protocol or an architecture where we list a project and can be matched with funding. So it can help the regulators also, it can help the investors also, and it can help the small projects from the villages to access funding at much lower cost than at present. And then the last pillar is open digital marketplaces. As we know that for any economic development to happen, market access is one of the biggest factors. And if we can create digital marketplaces for these villages which are networked together. So for example, if we create a network between 500 villages, digital marketplaces, so they can trade between them. And the beautiful part about this network is that if it the net worth of the network lies its in size. So if there are 1,000 villages in the network, it provides more economic opportunities to trade, and it could be digitally operated, digitally regulated, and can be accessed by the farmers to list their products here. So India has already pioneered open network for digital commerce, which breaks through the centralization of platforms like Amazon, which centralizes all the services, and how it level plays the field and democratizes the marketplace so that different players can even provide small services. It could be maybe, Rukha is known for his smoked fish. So there's an opportunity for an entrepreneur to maybe set up a local supply chain, a logistic supply chain, which can deliver the smoked fish from Rukha to other parts of Bhutan and even abroad for that matter. So now all of these 5 pillars, it's not that it is something new, I'm not presenting anything new here. All of these 5 pillars have been implemented, piloted, and successfully in some countries, but no country has done it in an integrated manner. So maybe Kenya has done it for peer-to-peer farmer learning network. NDI or digital identity frameworks have been adopted by many countries, but there has been no country so far which has done all of these 5 pillars in an integrated manner. And we think that Bhutan could be the first country to realize this whole ecosystem in an integrated manner with all of the 5 pillars in place. It already has NDI, and we can look at how it can build the rest of the 4 pillars to empower the villages to help themselves to develop. So this is a schema that how this could work. So the basic thing which this platform solves is that it helps to reduce the transaction cost between matching of demand and supply, be it data, be it knowledge, be it funding, or be it even the regulation and the government schemes. So once we get one Bhutan network, there could be an AI which could help the national government here for nuanced governance, evidence-based nuanced governance with the help of AI, which can give insights to maybe the Prime Minister's office on what's happening in each village and what is needed, and allocate funds accordingly, or what regulations are needed where. And when then it is done or extended on a shared global architecture, for example, HTTP, why we can access websites, whatever websites are being put up on internet is because it follows a common protocol, which is HTTP, and it is hosted on that. So if such an architecture, technological architecture is built on a shared protocol, then it can become a One Earth network, and we can have planetary governance or a new planetary ethic and resource allocation. So we learned from John that the top-down solutions are not working. So it is aggregated bottom-up. So we can have village and city networks, which comes together to become district networks, provincial networks, national networks, regional networks, and then ultimately the planetary network. But building tech alone, as we have learned in yesterday also, cannot help solve all the problems. It needs to come with right value systems also. And that is why ecosystem of initiatives approach is very important, and capacity building and training is very important. So so once it is operationalized, what this can facilitate is essential provisions for all, because we would know where there is lack of water, where there is lack of food, and then targeted solutions can be delivered there. reimagining work-life balance, because it can reduce a lot of duplication of efforts. So again, to share a small example from Rukha, when we were doing the village level balance sheet, we had 2 other teams coming in there, and they were doing survey of just a subset of the information that we were collecting there. So you can imagine there's so much duplication of efforts that's happening in this space. And then enhanced governance, efficient resource and financial management. And then ultimate goal is to create an omni-win situation for the humanity, where the well-being of all is taken care of, and each person is counted in the system, and the gaps of fulfilling the development of each person is accounted for in the balance sheet. Sorry. So what we're doing is learning by doing. We've already started taking small baby step towards creating this ecosystem. So we built an app to create village level data dashboard. Bhutan already has NDI, so the first pillar is already there. We are working on second pillar right now. So we built one village balance sheet, the demonstration of which you can see in the exhibit area, the first dashboard that we have. And now we are building a test AI model and the knowledge network that could, help the villages to access the knowledge. And then the app can already be extended to 600 villages in Bhutan, and we can have balance sheets for 600 villages here. So the next step we have is to collaborate to build the whole ecosystem in place. So in a nutshell, this is where I would leave this to, and I look forward to your comments and insights on this. Thank you.